Alright, this assignment has to do with gaining some confidence with pressure control. As you can see here, I've got my paper again oriented horizontally, and I've asked you to, again, split it down the middle, and you can draw a line, or in this case I think I'm just going to decide to fold it, because we only need to work on half a page for this assignment. What I've asked you to do is to draw a very large, very large rectangle that's pretty much filling the page. Split that in half and split each of those halves in half again. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 tiers, approximately the same size. On the top tier, split that in half, and those halves in half again, so you have 4 small spaces in that top tier. Now, we're going to do a series of lines here of varying pressure. The first one, go very lightly. Keep them somewhat close together. Try to keep it as even as possible. Try not to vary the pressure, but nice and even and light on that, all the way down on that little space. The next one over, do the same thing, but a little darker now. Try to keep it as even as possible. A nice, even set of lines raking across that space. Something like that. On the third space, same thing, but darker yet. So this is about understanding that pressure, the amount of pressure you put in drawing is an important aspect to have some control, because that changes the character of the line, of course. Now in this one, try to go about as heavy as you can, without hurting yourself, all right? Very dark. You'll notice as you add pressure, the lines will get thicker. So maybe you're not going to put quite as many. But you'll want to step back from your drawing and take a look at the progression of pressures. And it should have a relatively even sense to it, that we move from one kind of it creates a gray, from one gray to another, to another, to another, in a fairly even progression. Now in the next tier, what I'd like you to try is to use vertical lines, and I want you to start out, you can start out at either end, but I'm going to start here. I'll start out very light and get, again, about as heavy as I got here. I want to end up that dark at this end. So a series of vertical lines starting out very lightly. Now, as I'm going along, I'm trying to add some pressure. Remember that as you draw, you can be turning the pencil or the drawing instrument in your hand to get some line, variations that happen, thickness and thin. So there's a couple of things going on, not just pressure, but kind of a turning of the pencil. And what I'm hoping to achieve here, and I hope you can see it on camera, is that we have a relatively even progression of pressure across the page. I don't want to have any obvious dark things happening where they shouldn't be, or too light over here. So that's the second tier. On the third one, I want you to do a series of horizontal lines across, but with each line you're going to vary the pressure. So again, in this case, I'm right-handed, so I like to start on that side of the page, but I could start over here if I really wanted to. In fact, it might look more interesting because it's going to end up, if I started light here and get dark here, it's kind of the opposite thing happening in these two tiers. It makes the drawing more interesting, even though it's just an exercise. But I'm going to start light here, and as I move across, keeping fairly level, I want to get darker. And I didn't do that right, did I? It was even pressure throughout the whole thing. So let's say you did that. Okay, well, do it again. Try it again, very light, and then add some pressure and try to get really dark. Try to get very heavy. So this is practice. You know, if you mess up one, you can always draw on top of it or just move on. Now that one I got a little dark there. I need to be thinking more carefully. I need to be concentrating as I draw and reminding myself, what is it I'm trying to do? Oh yeah, gain pressure control. So to draw a single line and vary the pressure even as I move along the page. And so I will finish up this tier. And again, what I'll want to do when I'm done is to kind of step back and see if I have a nice even progression of pressure across that particular space. Now on the last one, you're free to kind of do what you like, but I want a pressure change thing to happen on the page. Now I use the word zigzag in the explanation, and they don't have to be straight. They can have a little arc to it, and that's what I'm going to do. But I'll keep them kind of tight, close together, in the same sense that all these different exercises they're all kind of tightly pressed together. So that would look like something like this. And again, what we're going to do is we're going to start out light, move across the page, and get darker, darker. So that's going to look something like this. And you could even go a little tighter than that if you want to, but one of the differences here is that you want to try to not lift the pencil as you go all the way across. That's an extra particular challenge for you on that one. And you're finished.